I want a big, long game. It's not a walkthrough, playthrough, review, anything like that. It's just me playing the game badly so you can see what it looks like. Well, thank you very much. I'll try. This is 18-wheeler on the Dreamcast. I have played it once before. I did badly. I will do badly here. So I know we can have different views. I don't know what the other buttons do. Oh dear. I don't want to go in reverse. Okay, that's the gear control then. I was going to say I know a place in Milton Keynes that looks like this, but I don't. I don't know, the A5D maybe in places, maybe near Bletchley, but without the tall buildings. But I'll tell you what, Euro Truck Simulator, this ain't. And is great for it. There is something very, whoa, yeah. I want to go that way. Get out of my way. Good for you. I don't know if you can hear there's some geezer talking on the CB. Oh, bollocks. Well, that sucks. Yeah, we'll continue. We'll do more badly, so you can see what it looks like. There is a thing about this. While I really, really like it, it is suffering from that thing that a lot of Dreamcast games suffer from, and that is Sega's, I don't want to say fixation, but maybe that's what it is, with arcade games. And I guess was this an arcade game? It seems like it probably was. In that the game is very short, and I want a big, long game. He's Lizard Tail. Yeah, I get converting arcade games to home consoles, and great, cool, love it. But like, I think a well-converted arcade game has like an original mode, like you got with, say, Virtual Racing and Star Wars on the 32X. You know, they would give you the original arcade mode, but then they would give you a 32X mode, which was basically the same game but bigger, more of everything. I want more, as Andrew Eldritch would say. And if you don't know who he is, shame on you. Anyway, oh, I should have hit that. Yeah, like that. I did.
We still can't call you a full throw, but you're looking pretty good. We're counting on you to do the next job right, too.
Counting on me to do the next job right. You're going to be shit out of luck. So am I, because I don't think I'll complete the next level. Braking, or drive forward, put the truck in the garage. Okay. I think I can do that. I wouldn't count on it though. Oh dear. There we go. How much did I get for that after losing 100? Well, okay. I've got the hook. Right. Yep. I don't know about that. I mean, I like truck racing on this particular game, but it's not exciting me that much. Yeah, we'll take that. I can't be bothered to cycle through them all. I haven't got much time, he says. That is the problem. There isn't much time. I don't like games that are against the clock. Is this the way I'm meant to be going? Where am I? Where? I've no idea. We'll just go this way. Yeah, I dislike time limits in games. I would rather... I would rather there be some other mechanic that dictates whether you win or not. But that's not to say this... Oh, God. That's not to say this is a bad game, because it's a great game. The concept is brilliant. Truck racing with mayhem and carnage and crashing here, there, and burnout with trucks. But like, oh crap! Oh, what the hell? Okay, all right, we can do that too. Can we go through buildings? Did it? Where's the? Oh God. Okay, I hear you, but I don't know what to do about it. Checkpoint. Ah! I'm working on it. Holy crap, there's a tornado in the road. That's great. I don't know where to go. Oh crap! Oh crap! Hit this geezer. We'll get some... Yeah. Bugger off. Ah. That's fascinating. Yeah, we'll have another go. I don't think we're going to get beyond this level, but we'll have another go. We're going. We're probably in the wrong lane, and I don't care. I want to pull in and have, oh God, have a burger. Maybe we'll cross over. He got pulled over for speeding. Well, what a wally. Oops. Oh crap. Oh crap. Oh God. Oh crap. This detour. I wonder if that's a suitable Okay, we'll go this way. I don't care. I'm going faster, slower. Oh God. I feel this road was not entirely meant for heavy vehicles. I can't see there. I like that there are different routes you can take. However inappropriate some of them are. That is 18-wheeler American Pro Trucker, is it? It's fun. It's limited. I wish it didn't have such strict time limits. The arcade game nature of it bugs me, and it's something Sega... It needs like... I don't want to go and make points for parking. No, don't want that either. Want something... I don't know. I want a sandbox mode or something like that, or a league championship mode, something where I can race different circuits in order. Circuits, you know, locations in order, and not fail to progress just because I didn't pass some really strict time limit. That aside, playing it is fun. It is a lot of fun. It's got that kind of smeary, fuzzy graphics that you see a lot on the Dreamcast. I should try using my VGA. I'm using a composite output SCART thingy. I should try VGA, but I don't think that will entirely alleviate the fuzziness. It's just something that you got on the Dreamcast. It's got an interesting graphical quality to it. Anyway, I'm waffling. 18-wheeler, Sega Dreamcast. Like it a lot, with reservations about that time limit. Okay, thank you for watching. Okay, today's question for Q&A is from LastofAvari, Eugene. Link to his channel down there. He asks, for Q&A, you've been mentioning your CB radio hobby several times in the past, so here's a more in-depth question. How did this hobby start and how did it fade away? What was in it for you? What hardware had you been using? Your favourite model, favourite radio model? Any special stories connected to this hobby that come to mind? Sorry if it's too much for one entry, but I think the topic quite an interesting one. Thanks for your time and effort, Steve. Thank you for the question, Eugene. And it's a good question, and it's not too much for one entry, but my God, I'm probably going to go on a bit. Because how did it start? I think for most people in Britain who weren't truckers, because it started with truckers, there was a practical use for truckers. There were no mobile phones. It was a way of keeping in contact with the other truckers around them for like road reports and stuff like that, traffic, weather, whatever, hazardous conditions. They could just talk to each other and know what was going on around them, or keep in touch with their base if they were working locally, or their families if they were working locally. So it started with truckers, and then for people with home bases, if they weren't keeping in contact with a trucker, it came from the film Convoy, which was all about truckers. That just like raised the awareness of CB radio. And there were other films, or at least another one, and I can't remember the name of it, but I know I watched another one, and people kind of realised this is rather cool. So I was aware of CB radio at the age of about 14, I guess. And then a friend of mine, his dad had a CB in his house. He had a home base set up. It was nothing too impressive. But a bunch of mates, me and me mates, we went round to this lad's house and had to go on his CB. Oh my God. We discovered there were girls on the CB. And that really covers your what was in it for you. Girls. It was all about girls. And I remember that just that one evening we sat and chatted, made a really, really lame attempt to chat up this girl who was at the local boarding school. I don't know how she had a CB radio at the boarding school. She was about 3 or 4 miles away from us. I remember her CB handle. It was Poison Dwarf. I don't remember what her actual name was. But we sat there and chatted to her and were basically trying very badly to chat her up, and I mean she had been on the CB a while and had heard it all before, so whatever we were coming out with was just like, God, you lot are lame. But that was it for me. I was hooked. I wanted CB. I knew lots of people who'd got CB in after a while, and in the end I got one. There was a local shop. There were several shops at the time that sold CBs, but the one that was local to me was in Stony Stratford. It was about a mile from where I lived. It was a shop called Vanner's. Little place, nothing special. They didn't have a really wide variety of stuff. I started out with a really crappy aerial and worked my way up. My first CB was a York JCB 867. How in God's name do I remember that? Because it only just this moment came to me. And I had it connected to a thing called a watt pole, which was basically a dipole, but slightly different. It had a loaded whip instead of literally two. The antenna and the ground plane on a dipole are kind of equal length, where the watt pole it wasn't. But anyway, I upgraded over the years, went through a GP half wave, and ended up with a Thunderpole Mark III, which was a very fancy looking aerial that had a range of about 30 miles, which impressed the hell out of me. It was a serious hazard in the wind. Actual CBs, I started out with the York. I blew that up because I didn't know that the power supply I'd got was overvolting, and it was basically everything I ever hooked up to it overheated, and several of them died. So, but I kept using it because I didn't know it was the problem. I had a Harvard good buddy bleed over box, as they called them. God, it was awful. I had a Moonraker Major. That was lovely. All of these were like mobile, that they were meant for putting in cars or in trucks and basically running off the electrics of a vehicle or the battery even, but I put them on a regulated 12-volt power supply. And then I got, which I bought it off of a girlfriend, a Uniden Uniace 300 home base, and that was lovely. That was a wonderful piece of kit. And I went through various mics because it's like there was pride in CB use. How good was your kit? And part of that was your microphone. Did you use the standard mic? Because they were generally shit. Or did you use a power mic, which was like amplified? And did you have a reverb or an echo chamber of some sort? And I wound up using this whopping great big bass mic condenser thingamajig with a reverb, and I can't remember who made it, but it sounded awesome. It was a great sounding, it was a spring reverb, but it sounded great. So I had, like, on that Uniden with that mic and reverb, I had some of the best audio in Milton Keynes. Girlfriends. I had, this is coming back to what was in it for me. It was girlfriends. My very first girlfriend, I really hesitate to call her girlfriend, but it wasn't a long-lasted relationship, but use your imagination. And then two others. I'm not going to name them, but yeah, 3 girlfriends all met on the CB, because I'm kind of an awkward person and not especially confident around women, certainly not at that time anyway. And so the internet wasn't a thing. Meeting women in person, just like going to a pub and meeting a woman wasn't going to happen. I was too awkward, too nervous, too shy. CB radio, it was like a controlled environment. There was a certain etiquette and way of behaving, and the language, the lingo, the code, if you like. Yeah, that was a thing. But anyway, I knew what I was doing on there, and I got very good at talking to people. It's probably why I can talk to a camera, because talking like this is very, very similar to talking on the CB. You can get good at it, and I did. I got very, very good at it. So there was a time where if you wanted a good and relatively intelligent conversation, people came to me, including women. And so, yeah, I got some girlfriends on there, and that was great. Funny stories. Well, I suppose I'm trying to think of. There was a murder that came about through CB radio, and it got way Department of Trade and Industry, as it was back then, the DTI, got involved, and basically anyone who even spoke about it on the CB, then the DTI were like knocking on the door saying, you can't talk about this is like an ongoing investigation and there'll be a court case and everything, you may not talk about it or you will be arrested. That's serious. It's obviously all done and dusted now, but there was a guy who was talking shit and hurling abuse at a particular family, made threats. People went to where he was, beat him up. One person left the glasses where he was, went back and got stabbed in the heart and died. And this was all through someone talking shit on the radio. And it was like everyone on the CB knew about it, but no one was allowed to talk about it because it happened on the CB live at the time. The guy who was getting beaten up was on the CB when they arrived, and he put an elastic band around the mic on his CB, so you heard it happen. And that was a bizarre and freaky thing. Other things, one of the funny things about CB, I mean, the nearest thing that I could compare it to in recent years is IRC, Internet Relay Chat, which isn't so much of a thing now anyway, where you've got like a room full of people all talking to each other, over each other, around each other, but you can hear everyone. And then if you want a private conversation, you, on IRC, you just have a private chat. You do, DMs like you get on here. Direct message. I say on here. You can't do it on YouTube anymore, but you'd go to another channel on CB, though nothing was private on CB because anyone could listen. But etiquette and manners, if there were two people talking on a channel that wasn't the breaking channel, the 1.4 or the 1.9, you left them alone if you had manners. Not everyone did. But anyway, the thing that two things actually that separate IRC from CB. One is you can hear the voice, where with IRC you can't. And the other is these people are local. They're usually within 2 or 3 miles, unless you've got a really, really, really good setup. 30 miles was the best I ever got, unless, we'll talk about skip in a bit, unless the skip was running. So you could hear these people. You knew they were local, so actually going to meet them was a practical possibility without needing to book airline tickets or something crazy like that. You could meet them even if you didn't have a car. Get on your push bike, cycle there. You'll be there in 20 minutes or something. Now I had motorbikes at the time, most of the time, while I was on CB. And there was an evening, my brother and myself, and this is where it gets crazy as well. I had a CB, my brother had a CB, my dad had a CB. We each had separate radios with separate antennas, all in the same house. So our house looked like some kind of Cold War listening station. It was bristling with humongous great big aerials. I mean, the tallest aerial was about 21 feet long, and then this thunder pole on something like a 10-foot scaffold pole. And what the hell was that thing my brother had? Jesus, he had something enormous. Anyway, my brother and myself were talking to this, I won't say woman, we were teens, let's say girl. And the thing about CB, you could hear voices, and some people had really, really, really nice voices. And what we learned that night was that the voices and the faces connected to the voices don't necessarily always match. And it shows at that age how shallow myself and my brother were. We went to visit. We weren't mean, but when I say that voice did not match that face, I can't. I'm not wanting to be mean, And obviously, I do remember the person's handle. Don't remember the name. Probably a really nice person. Certainly very polite. Glorious voice. And it's really, really disrespectful. The way we were not rude to her. We sat there, we had a cup of tea, we had a chat. We left and we were like, Jesus Christ. And that's terrible and shameful, and I'm embarrassed by it. But it's a demonstration of what the CB was like and the kind of things that happened. Because you would get lots of people talking to lots of people with high expectations. They thought, oh God, I'm in love. And then meet the person and like, God almighty, and never talk again. That happened a lot. Yeah, I had many people never talk to me again, and there were a few who I never talked to again. It's kind of it. CB brought out the best and the worst in people. It really did. There were people on there who met and got married. There were people who met and killed each other, literally. And you had the arguments, you had the romances, you had everything, and it was fantastic. And I loved it. And I miss it. I still, every now and then, I see a car or a lorry go by, or a house with a CB aerial on it, and I think, are they actually using that? Who are they talking to? Because it died. CB died, and largely it was down to the internet. But you don't get the same thing on the internet. You can talk to more people. You can do this, which is great. There are a massively larger pool of people you can get to know, but they're not local, and that is what's missing. This ability to go into a room full of random people and get to know them and know that they're all local, and you can find people you get on with and go round and have a cup of coffee or a snog or whatever. Obviously I'm not concerned with that now because I have a girlfriend, but it was really great for that. And I was going somewhere and I've sidetracked myself and I can't remember what it was I was going to say. It died, didn't it? It was largely the internet that killed it. For me, actually, it was breaking up with a girlfriend who I was on the CB, she was on the CB. We met on the CB. She lived literally 100 yards away from me. So if I was on the CB and she was on the CB, she had a powerful setup, I had a powerful setup. We didn't end on good terms, and we kind of couldn't avoid each other because our signals would overpower all of the other channels. Like if I was on the 1.4 and she was on the 1.9, as soon as one of us transmitted, the other one couldn't hear anything on any of the 40 channels. So it sort of went to hell, and it was like one of us had to go off channel, and by then I had the internet, so I went off channel, and that was the last I ever used it. I did have a handheld CB which I brought to workshop with me, but I didn't hear anyone ever in all the time I was here. It died. I haven't got one now. Yeah, those were the days, and I missed them. And it's a shame that it died, because CB had something that the internet doesn't, and that was just like, it was local, and it was simple. Pausing for thought. Had someone just rustling a bag outside my door for a minute there. Probably eavesdropping. Yeah. So I don't know how long I was on for. I started in, I think, 83, and I had a break where I left the family home and moved to Milton Keynes, and it was probably a couple of years where I wasn't on, and then I went back on in about 89, 90, and finally left in about 2000, yeah, thereabouts. And I had two handles. My first handle, when I lived at Dean's Hangar, I was Xerox. Do you copy? And then when I went back on in about 89ish, I was Dr. Benway. Guess where my name comes from now. And that was after the character in the William Burroughs books, or Naked Lunch anyway, and the film, but mainly the book. Absurd character, and I found that absurdity very appealing, so I thought, yeah, I'll be Dr. Benway. No one on the CB had the faintest idea what the name meant, which figures. I don't think many people on there read. It was interesting though, the difference in the kind of people who were on the CB in the early years compared to the people who were on in the later years. There were a lot more around 83, 84. You could go on the CB and there would be hundreds of people. You never knew who you were going to speak to. You never got to know who all of these voices were. It was hard to break through the noise because there were so many people. And that, from youngsters to old people, you name it, it was just jam-packed. That gradually faded away, so by the time it got to like the late 80s, early 90s, the people who were left were really dedicated, die-hard CB enthusiasts, where previously it had been people who were like, hey, this is cool, let's give it a try. Got bored of it, left. But the people who were left by the end of the 80s were diehards. And they were largely probably in their 30s and 40s. There were some in their 20s. There were some who were a bit younger. But it was like they were older. They were less naive. They were... You had to be careful by that time. The people you could meet, there were some really nice people, hearts of gold, who were on there to help anyone they could. It was what they did. They weren't necessarily working, but it was like they could help someone with maybe, I don't know, just information, road traffic stuff, giving directions, that kind of stuff. For drivers with CBs, they would do that. But there were some who were the equivalent of trolls, basically. There was a lot of abuse, there was a lot of threatening behaviour. You had to be careful when you went and met someone. You never really quite knew who you were going to meet. It changed, and it gradually faded out. So by the time I left, it was the real diehards of the diehards. And to be fair, most of those people, I stopped really wanting to have anything to do with them anyway. I think the kind of people I wanted to know had all faded away, and the last few were, well, probably largely friends with the girlfriend who I was no longer on good terms with. So there really wasn't a place for me on there by then. So I quit. Yeah, but they were very interesting times, and it did. Without the internet, CB was just brilliant. Gonna stop now because again it's not someone outside my door, it's rain on my window, but I'm deaf in one ear, so I don't have directional hearing. Oh, wow. Okay, I'll end there anyway. So anyone else who's got any questions they would like answering in a video like this, leave a question in the comments below. Begin with for Q&A, so I know not to just answer in the comments. Thank you for watching.
Patreon? That's not even a word. You made it up.